Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome. It's Cheryl from Art. I'm so excited to be with you here this morning, Friday morning. It is all things black this morning, so I guess we could call it Black Friday without the shopping. But I didn't get to you this week. I had planned to go live with you in minutes, not minutes, but a little bit before I went on. We had a tornado watch. It seemed fine, but of course, a little before my lifetime, it got a little loud and thundery, and I had to cancel. So I missed you this week, but I'm here. I'm luckily enough to get a spot on today's special event on Craft on the Clock. So welcome. Good morning, Tracy. Hello. Thank you for getting me covered last week. It was crazy. I haven't really experienced weather like that too much. So anyways, welcome, Jackie. I'm excited because when I heard that we were doing this Black Friday event, I have a painting I did with a class a number of years ago we painted on black paper, and it came to mind immediately, and so I'm going to recreate it on canvas for you this morning. Hey, Lisa, you'll probably like this. This is fun. So I really just took a little gallery wrap canvas and painted it black. Previously, I just painted this on black paper and framed it, which is very nice too. You could paint it on any surface at all that you can start with a black base coat. Good morning, Lois. Hi, everyone. No, can you not hear me? Can you guys not hear me? My mic is not covered, but let me know. Give me a thumbs up, you guys, if you can hear me okay. Thank you, Lois. Thank you for sharing that out. So anyway, regardless of what you want to paint this on, you can paint it on all sorts of things. I recently sold a couple of hand-painted denim jackets backs on the jackets, and this would be cool painted on something like that as well. So good morning. Thanks for all hopping in. I have simply painted acrylics on my black canvas. I am going to paint a tree of life in metallic gold. Now, and then I'm going to do just some little colored decorations. It's kind of a Klimt-like look, the gold with the little jewel tones. Super simple. Doesn't need a tracer. You don't have to sketch it on or anything. I'm going to sketch a little, you don't have to trace it on, but I'm going to just give myself a guideline with a piece of chalk. When I do a tree of life, and I've done all kinds of them, if you pop over to YouTube, you'll see my big colorful tree of life. There's a free lesson there if you'd like it. Oh, you can't hear. Let me turn on. That is very odd. Okay, sorry. Muffled. Oh, I wonder why. I'm nothing different. You know what? Let me move my phone a little. I do have it a little bit on the volume thing. And I've set up exactly like I usually do. Let me try putting you on turning the sound on my laptop. Let's try that real quick before we go forward and see if that helps at all. Sounds different. The only thing I didn't do today is I forgot to turn focus on, okay. Let me pull myself up here. Let me turn my, I want to make sure you can hear me. I don't know if that's better or not. Let me just think about it a bit. My mic. Let me just check it on the phone. No, that was fine. All right, I've done enhancing the voice and reducing background. I will try to talk a little louder. Please let me know if this is better. Really, Lois? Anyone else besides Lois having trouble? Let me know with the volume. Sounded muffled. Yeah, Cindy said that. It's very odd, guys. I apologize. I don't know if I can turn the mic on. I don't know if it would work. It won't work on my laptop. I'm not recording there. Well, you know what? I'm going to try to speak as clear as I can. And if you can just kind of watch along with what I'm doing, I don't know what else to do. I have not done anything different. But that's going to Okay, I don't know anything else I can do. If anyone has any suggestions, please let me know. But let's just get started painting. You can watch me paint anyway. And I will answer any questions if I miss them in the chat going back afterwards. But I'm going to simply trace myself a little guideline for my tree of life here. Usually when I do a tree of life, I start in the middle. I kind of get an idea of the middle. And I just give myself a little skeleton to go by. Here's my trunk. I want to fill the canvas with lots of branches. I use a lot of curly Q and curly strokes, and I really just want to fill the canvas out to the edges. And super simple. Chalk is great to trace with because you can erase it very easily. And I like to use a lot of curly Qs. Sometimes I make them, some come off the other. I'm going to paint that in gold. And then we're going to add some jewels to it as well. So let's just get started with the painting. I have really come to love this folk art treasure gold. It covers really well. I'm going to just paint my tree with that gold. Can you hear me a little bit, or is it just muffled, you guys? And this gold covers really nice. I really have been using this for a number of projects. And look at how great it looks on the black background. I love a metallic look. Sometimes I do a gold leaf as well. Just an example, I do have one that I have not painted the jewels on yet, but this is one that I did with gold leaf. And that is very simple to use if you want to try that sometime. It is a speedball product, and you buy the adhesive and then the gold leaf, and you adhere it. I don't think I have time for that this morning, so I'm just going to paint it with the metallic gold. But you can see how nice that looks, that metallic finish. But today we're just going to use the gold treasure gold. Just using a flat curled brush. What's good about that is you can use it on the chisel edge for the thin branches. You can spread it out for the thicker branches. And it covers, like I said, it covers pretty well. So we're going to just make some of these little branches coming out. I'll do whatever I can with this heavier brush. And I'm going to go to a smaller brush to make all the little cute curly. I may put a little bit of a second coat on here to really have that gold covered well. Cannot wait to see all of the presenters today. I just was watching Pat from Unique doing that cool project with the windows. And I do love to see what everybody creates. And I'm going to now just add these curly hues. Again, I'm not worrying about covering the areas where the chalk is. That will erase. And I just love using some thick lines, some thin lines. I'm putting a little water in with my paint to make it a little thinner so that I can get some of these nice thin lines. And my goal is to fill up the canvas with all these little curly hues. And I appreciate you guys all for being here. Thank you. Let's see. Hello. I'll call yourself. I turned on the. I don't have. You know what? Hang on a minute. You know what? I have my headphones here, and I wonder if it's Bluetooth into those. Hang on. I'm going to remove them. Put them in their case.
Is that a little better now? I think I turned Bluetooth off completely. Let me just, hopefully that should do it. Sorry, guys. I really have not had this many techie difficulties. Oh, good. So you better? Am I back? Oh, thank you, guys. See, you guys helped me out. It was the Bluetooth. You know what it is? I've been watching court TV, and I'm addicted to a case, and I've been listening to it on my headphones. Sorry, guys. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Now I feel like I can talk to you. I know you're on the other side of the camera, but when I can see and talk to you, it's kind of makes it feel like I'm really with you. Okay, so if you missed something I said along the way, just let me know. And I'm letting this gold dry a bit so that I can get rid of those chalk lines because they make me crazy a little bit. Chalk lines, once this paint is dry, you can just erase with your finger. I sometimes just take a wet paintbrush and just get those out of there. It's not a big deal. You can even do it at the end, but sometimes I just like to start with a kind of without those little lines there. So I'm going to paint little circle designs. If you've seen my big colorful tree of life painting, you've seen these little spirals I hang on my trees. And I'm doing them in jewel colors. You could change up the palette, but I'm doing the jewel colors, and again, it reminds me like of a Klimt painting. So I decided to use gouache for my paint today. I don't know if anybody's used gouache before. They are water-based. They're something that I used many years ago when I did illustrating, and it's used in that industry a lot. They're a very flat, matte finish, and it covers really well, which is what I like. They're very opaque. Nowadays, there are acrylic gouache, which is kind of cool. And I have found I like the acrylic gouache better. Coverage is fabulous. I could paint an ocean scene, and then with the gouache I could paint my people right in the ocean, whereas in acrylic many times the paint is really a little transparent. You'd have to put coat after coat. So what I've been using, I found these Turner acryl gouache, which I really like. This is the traditional gouache. They come in little tubes. The difference is the traditional gouache, when you put it down, if you put another color on top, it is going to blend. The acrylic gouache stays put, and I could layer colors on top of one of another, if that makes sense. I recently was looking for like a travel set of gouache, and I found this set on Amazon. Although it's not very travel size, it's pretty big and weighty. And I've never seen it before, but now I see them at Michael's even. So someone called them a jelly gouache. Maybe that's it. But there's some beautiful jewel tone colors there. And what it is when I put my little spirals down now, I don't have to do 2 or 3 coats or base it in white. So, and this little kit was cool. It came with some paintbrushes and everything. So I'm just going to use a little small detail brush to start with. And I am going to grab my palette a little closer to sort of blend my paint out on. And I'm just going to pick one of the colors at random. I'll do purple first. Purple is kind of a rich, I just like the rich jewel tones. And so I'm going to start with the purple. And all I'm going to do is just plop my brush down anywhere. It doesn't have to be on a branch, hanging from a branch. I'm just putting it down and just making a little spiral, a little circle. And I may as well do all the purples while I have it. I'm not trying to paint a perfect little round circle. I'm just putting my brush down and spiraling. Cindy, I do have an affiliate page on Amazon. I will add these to it. Remind me in our group, and I will give you the link. But I did just see them at Michael's, actually. A couple little sets right in the watercolor section, too. So I'm not even worrying about evenly spacing them perfect. I am just going to pop on, spiral the color. It's purple on black, so yes, it's still a little dark. But I'm going to go on top of each of these with a little white spiral, and that's going to make them pop a little bit. It's looking to me much like a grape tree at the moment. But let's just I'm going to use purple. I'm going to use like a sapphire blue. I'm going to use a magenta. You can, again, use any color you like. And if you check out the YouTube video on my other tree of life, it's done the same way, but I use very bright colors in that one. And also with that one, you could just pick a color palette that you like. You don't have to stay with it. Lynn, the gouache isn't metallic. What I used for the metallic was this Folk Art Treasure Gold. I've often used metallic paints in the craft paints, and they work okay, but this really gives me some great coverage on black, no less. So that's what I used for the metallic. And I have done it before, if you saw me pull up that example of the one that was done with the gold leaf. And you can see how quick these go. These little spirals just go pretty quick. And I'm going to just wash my brush now and just go to the next color. I'm wondering about it in silver too, but I tell you, I just love all those Klimt paintings with the metallic gold and the shimmery colors. So now let's pop in and let me get a little bit of my palette knife just to pull some of that colors out. I think I'm going to go with a little bit lighter blue just to have it show up. And let me just grab a little bit of it and put it on my palette there. The gouache, the trouble with the gouache is it dries so fast. I usually use a little Stay Wet palette, or I have a little airtight container, and if I remember to keep spraying it with water, that helps. So it does dry fast. It takes some getting used to, but honestly the coverage is amazing to me, because look at that blue even, how that's just one little coat, and if I had done that with my craft paint, it would take either base coating in white and going back with the color, which I thought of doing, which I've done before. But I figured the gouache was on my table because I've been playing around with it lately. I know my hand's kind of hiding how I'm doing this, but simply plop your brush down, spiral. Do not worry if it's even. We're going to take a little white spiral over it. I almost like it if it's a little feathered out as well. And again, I'm not trying to put it all, they have to hang from a branch. I've done classes and people are so careful sometimes, and they go through so carefully and make sure everyone is just hanging like from a branch. You can if you want to, but it's just as nice just to scatter them, really. And I'm just kind of looking where, okay, there's a lot of purple here, there's not a lot of blue, I might just put a blue in. And I'm just going to go through my other colors. I'm going to get a nice magenta now. I want to get kind of a nice green. Let's see, this magenta is a little, ooh, that's pretty though. It is dark. Let's see if it shows up. Oh, thank you. Hey, Deb. I know, and this, honestly, I because you couldn't hear me very well before, I don't know if you heard me say, when I saw that we were doing a fun Friday with a black theme, which, you know, like Pat said, it's not a color that we usually all work with. I love color, and I don't like using dull. I don't use black in my paints. I use Payne's Gray because I like that it's a little bit more blue. So I don't touch black with a 10-foot pole usually, but this painting I remember doing in class, and it was really a fun project. And you cannot get the stunning look of the gold if you don't have that black background. And you can see I am putting some of the little circles right on the branches. It is a quick project. If you're looking for something quick to sell or to teach, this is a great little project that you can put your own spin on many, many ways. Sometimes I do detailed paintings. Oh, I have it. If I have time, I'll reach behind it. I just recorded the Luna Moth painting. For those of you guys waiting for that, it's a very detailed painting. I recorded it in a series of small little bursts so that it's not so overwhelming when you go to paint. And sometimes I do quick, simple projects like this too. A little bit of green. Let's get a nice green here. I don't want to waste that. Okay. Susan. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. I just love to paint. I had an easel right behind me with the big moth painting while I recorded. I do have the a couple of paintings I'm recording. I just finished. This is little. I did it originally for 24 by 24, a big painting, but it's very detailed, but not unachievable, not hard. You could do it step by step if you follow along with the videos, just baby steps. Don't get overwhelmed by it all. And then have fun with some of these paintings that you just, you know, throw the paint on there and have a little fun. Okay, so this is the green. And that shows up nice. This is kind of a nice, almost an emerald green. I am thinning the paint down a little bit as I go, just so that I can get a nice little shape. But again, if it is a little wonky or a little feathered on the edge and not perfect, that's what we're striving for. No worrying, no fretting on this painting. It's the wonkier the better. Sometimes it's nice to have that freedom. Oh, Susan, thank you. That was one I did in a plein air event last summer in Maine. I'll be heading back to Maine at the end of May, so you can expect more Maine paintings. When I'm here in Florida, it appears that I paint all the Florida things, and now heading towards Maine, I kind of am looking forward to that rocky coast. So, all right. So, those of you that don't know, I teach painting online here. I have a couple of art memberships, but I also have one-off classes that you can purchase, like the Luna Moth. Those of you in the membership, and I know some of you are here, that Luna Moth is going to be a painting for you this month, in addition to your other paintings. Okay, so that's, I kind of limited it to a few colors. I think that's enough. I don't want it to get too scattered. I'm going to just quickly take a little lighter purple and mix it with that dark purple and just highlight a few of those purple ones a little lighter, just a bit. I love that jewel tone, but it's just not showing up as much as I'd like. So I might just quickly lighten up a few of them. Like I said, I'm going to go with a little detail on top with a little white spiral. I might just take a few of those just so they pop a little more and just brighten them up a little. Okay, so what I do next is I'm going to just give each little spiral just a very light, I'm just going to use my craft paint for this because I want it to be, actually I'm going to use my golden acrylics, just acrylic for this, so that it flows a little better and I don't have to add so much water. I want a nice detail brush, and if the paint is a little heavy and not working for me, I will just add a little water. And what I do now, and it's just a tiny detail, and oh, Gail, yes, you can varnish over this. Yep, even if it was the gold leaf, you could still varnish. Oh, Courtney, welcome. And if you'd like to go to YouTube and check out some of my free classes there to see how I teach, it sometimes helps to have somebody, you know, when you're trying to get started, just to give you a little bit of a, you know, a little bit. I love taking lessons. I still take all kinds of lessons. So I'm just simply putting my brush in the middle of my little spirals and just kind of spiraling it out a little bit. Sometimes I do it when the paint is wet, and it's kind of nice when it sort of just blends in with the paint too. And so I'm thinning that paint down a bit so that it's not so harsh. I don't want it as too bright. I want it to kind of, oh, that's very bright. I think I'm better off doing it a little bit when I am actually painting the underpainting. If I'm doing the blue, and then go kind of quickly into the white, it sort of blends in with the paint a little bit. I'm going to go very light because I just want to have a little bit of a design there, but not something that's going to take away from that little piece. Almost makes them look like a little rose even. So it's just a little decorative thing. Let me even try it in the gold just for the heck of it. That might be a good look too. Let's try that because I really don't want to keep the colors rich and metallic in here. I'm going to do the gold. I'm going to do the gold, I think, instead. I like it much better. Let me do one next to it. So here's that one is just too bright, but if I do the gold and hold it up, I really kind of like the way it looks with the gold spiraled around rather than the white. The white was too, it just jumped out at me too much. I have a recollection of how I painted this back in the day, but I don't have the original anymore, so I couldn't really look. I think I probably did it with the gold. And this just is, like I said, just little spirals, wonky, nothing fancy. The quicker you do it, the better, because then you're not going to fuss with it and try to get it just so. I think I'll go right over the ones I did in the white. This treasure gold is fabulous. It's a little thick, so I will thin it down a tiny bit as I go. And I didn't get my chalk lines off there yet, but we will do that. That's really the best. Because this is gold, these little spirals I'm doing now, I'm going to go right out over the edge of these little circles, so you have even more gold, so it's like a little halo around. And that's a nice look. So you guys are reminding me how I did this so many years ago. But I've been wanting to do it as a class, so this is a good practice. But so simple, right? It's very simple. Oh, thanks, Sheila. Oh, Cindy, thank you, guys. I'm always trying to do something different. You guys in the membership know that. We paint all kinds of things, not just, you know, still lifes, animals, seascapes, landscapes, whimsical things. I'm recording today, later, the giraffe painting that we have in our membership next week. It is actually, I think it's a little too colorful. I think I showed it to you before. It seems a little colorful, but I kind of like it, and I'm going to explain to people that they can certainly just tone down the colors, but it was a giraffe eating ice cream cones. Yeah, I don't know where it came from. Sometimes I get these thoughts in my head, and it's just like, okay, let me see what we can do with that. So that I am recording for the membership, and you guys will get that probably. I'll be traveling next Monday, but I will post it for you. And I will be posting, I got to just edit a tiny bit on the Luna Moth painting videos, but I will get that out to you too. And if you want to start small and just do like one painting a month, I have a membership that's one painting a month. It gets recorded and just emailed to you, and it's inside a private group as well, where you can post your paintings, access the recordings, the tracers, and all that business. Or you can jump in the membership where we do 3 get-togethers a month, and we do some that are live in that one. And it's a really nice little art community of really talented, fun, creative people. This is something you don't have to think about too much. So you can be listening to something. I listen to an audiobook sometimes, or like with my headphone-ish situation, I was listening to Court TV. But it's not something you have to think a lot about. You can be doing something else and just listening to something in the background. Where are we for time? Even with our rocky start, we're doing great. So you guys know, if you hang around here, Craft Round the Clock, live crafters every 45 minutes. I can't wait to see what everybody does with the black theme today, so do stick around. If you just hang out after I'm off and refresh the page on Craft Round the Clock, you will get a new crafter coming in shortly. If you are new to my page, Tinker's Cart Art, welcome, and I just do lots of fun, creative things there, and I would love it if you joined us. That would be great. I do have a private community also outside of social media on my website that's very similar to this, but it's a little more private. Anyone who wants information on any of the above, just let me know. I'm not a big sales pitch person. I love teaching. I love painting. Don't like the whole promoting thing, so if you want to give it a whirl, any questions about anything, just send me a message or check my pages. All right, I think I hit them all. If you don't, it's not a big deal. I wonder if I did some that are just little spirals of the gold here and there. So it could almost be just a little spiral. If you have an empty spot anywhere, I do kind of bling this up a little bit with little bits of gold. Sometimes I just take and just do little dabs of it just to make it an interesting pattern. Little spirals, little dots. I do some little dots, I remember too. Stylus, back end of your brush, whatever, and you can just go right into that gold. I had a stylus hand, oh, right here. Let me take out a little bit of the gold. It's nice if you can dip into a little puddle of paint to do your little dots. And generally, the paint is always on my palette. I don't know why I've started pulling that out of the jar. So I'm just going to use a little stylus. You could use the back end of your brush, front end of a detail brush. You could use a toothpick. And I'm going to just go in and follow some of my spirals with dots. Doesn't mean you can't just put them any way you want to. But I'm going to just put them, sometimes if it's a little empty space, I could just go right along. I'm going to add a little bit more color to the tree trunk. I'll show you that. Actually, I do the whole trunk with dots down the side. But let me finally get to some of the removal of that chalk, especially along there. Again, I'm just going to go along. It doesn't matter if it's the inside or the outside. Just dots along here. Can go on the outside too. Hi Pam, nice to see you popping in. And you could go as much or as little as you like. I like a little more on this sort of idea. Let's see, I've got something on my, there. Try this. I was going to come on during the week when I could not get on because of the storms and do waves. I know we talked about during my session last week just doing some little tutorial of just painting large waves. So I have all that nearby, and next time I'm live I'll do that. I won't be live next week because I'll be away, but I'll be in Maine when I paint with you next time, maybe. Maybe not. No, one more time, and then I'll be in Maine. But let's start and do some waves just for fun. Okay, I am going to definitely go right down the side of my tree on both sides here. And again, I'm going to do a lot more little dots, but let me get the trunk done. And then I might put a few little gold leaves here and there. And then it's a matter of where to stop and stop fussing and detailing it. But I do like the more dots on here, the better. I don't know. I think it's kind of a fun. It's more design than, of course, reality. I am going to take a little flat brush now. This is the part that reminds me of the Klimt paintings. I'm taking just a little square, which I love these little squares because if I want to make something this size, a door, a window, a design, little leaves, they're the perfect size. So I'm going to go now back to my gemstone colors, and I'm just going to make some little square shapes. It's nice. It kind of really complements the spiral shapes. And on the trunk, I'm just going to make some little square and rectangle shapes. I think I'm going to go to a smaller square even. I have another little one that's a little smaller. I think I want to go with that one. And I do down to just the sides of them a little bit. Maybe up just until a little bit of these bigger branches. I'm not going to go way out into the end of all the little curly cues, but I will on the heaviest branch, just some little squares. And I'm simply going to wipe that off and go into my next color. So we've got that magenta now. Ooh, that's a big blob. Not worried about where I'm spacing them. I'm just putting them on there. And let's try some green, and then we have some blue. Okay, get the green. No rhyme or reason. Some are close together, some are spaced out. This is perfect timing. We have 5 whole minutes left and we are just about done. Again, I think the limiting the color to these 4 brights works more than having every shade under the sun. Sometimes less is more. That's hard for me sometimes. So that is not a lot, but it's enough, I think. See the little rectangles just scattered on the branches and on the trunk? And the only thing I would do now is get rid of my lines and do some more dots. And this really will look nice when I put a finish. I will let it dry really well and put a varnish on there. I just use a polycryl water-based satin finish. Especially with this black background, it's going to make it really come to life a little bit. Right now I'm just taking a paintbrush, wetting the paintbrush and just going to erase some of these lines. I really want you to see it without the chalk. Thank you, Pam and Courtney. Simple though, right? This, you guys could all paint this. Even if you're not a painter, you could paint this. You don't need many supplies. You don't need to get all of the things under the sun. You just get a few colors. Doesn't have to be the gouache. I just chose gouache. If you were using your acrylic, you put it on, it was like, oh, I can see through it. It's going to take a lot of coats. Just paint all those little circle bits with white. Then go with any color you want and your color will show up. I just had the gouache on my table. I thought I'd talk about it for a minute in case you haven't tried it. And not necessary though. Any of your craft paints will do. Just use your white underpainting. Or mix a little white with the color. If it doesn't get it too pastel-y, I kind of like them when they're more jewel tones than pastels. But let's show it to you without those little lines. Simple to get the chalk lines off, and that's why I love to sketch with chalk. That's always handy to have some chalk nearby. Even if you're working on a project that's not painting, but you want to mark something, chalk is fabulous. So there it is so far. I'm going to continue adding little dots, but I'm also going to watch the comments here now if you have any questions. Len, you're welcome. I love Tree of Life motif anyway. Oh, I just use a polycryl. I don't have the can. It's on the floor. I get it at the hardware store. It's made by Minwax. It's called polycryl. I get a quart of it. I put it in a squeeze bottle. Makes it a little easier, but you can use it out of the jar, the quart, and it's water-based. So I put it on with a sponge brush and then just rinse it out with water. So polycryl, Minwax polycryl. Yes, if you guys pop in later, I have to leave early, you know that it's all recorded. So that's the fabulous thing here. Tinker's Cart Art, Courtney. I'm all the socials with Tinker's Cart Art. I would love it if you give me a follow here. And I am usually posting about where else I am. I want to do a little more on YouTube. So that is a good place to see a lot of previous paintings and little tutorials. I'll show you how to trace things. I'll show you how to, there's probably a tutorial over there on painting waves. A lot of short little ones, but some long classes as well. I'm going to have to sign off in a minute, so I really appreciate you guys popping in and your patience with my having on my headphones and having my voice muffled. Now I've learned that to make sure that those are in their case as soon as I find the case, because I lose everything. I don't know if you guys are like that, but if I'd be looking for my glasses and they're on my face, I'll be talking on my phone and I'll be looking for it. Kind of crazy. Any questions afterwards as you're watching this, you guys send me a message. I try to keep looking at the comments even if it's a while after the live too as well. I will take a picture of it and post it on my page too. Oh, good idea, Lynn. A friend shared it with me and I just love it. So, okay, hang on for the next crafter. See you guys later. Bye.